People earning $250,000 a year are borrowing money to look like they earn $250,000 a year. A real bank asked them. Most said the appearance is the point. And I'd love to laugh at them. I can't, because in my closet, in its original box, sits a $900 watch I bought to impress a room full of people I have not seen since. Here's the confession. 2 years ago, I got invited to a reunion, and somewhere between the RSVP and the parking lot, my brain quietly decided that an entire decade of my life would be judged by my wrist. So I bought the watch, I practiced the casual sleeve adjustment, I walked in, broadcasting on all frequencies, and across 5 full hours, exactly one person mentioned it. He asked if it counts steps. It does not count steps. It costs $900, and it counts nothing. I drove home poorer and, strangely, not even embarrassed, because everyone in that room was running the same operation I was. The guy who parked his new truck by the entrance. The woman who found 3 ways to mention her kitchen renovation. All of us performing wealth for an audience of people far too busy performing wealth to watch. That's the scam I want to show you today. Not one somebody runs on you, the one you run on yourself. It has a name, and the name is old. In 1899, an economist named Thorstein Veblen watched America's New Rich and noticed something uncomfortable. We don't just buy things to use them. We buy things to say something. He called it conspicuous consumption, spending money specifically so other people can watch the money being spent. A $50 watch tells time exactly as well as a $5,000 one. The extra money buys no extra minutes. It buys a broadcast. I have money to burn. And Veblen caught the twist that still runs the whole game. The people most desperate to send that signal are the ones who can least afford to send it. Real money has nothing to prove. Stretched money has everything to prove. And proving it is the most expensive thing you can own. Which is exactly what a bank found when it asked rich people a rude question. In 2024, Wells Fargo surveyed millennials earning at least $250,000 a year, objectively the top few percent of incomes. 59% said it's important to look or appear financially successful to others. Not to be successful, to appear successful. Their words. More than 40% were leaning on credit cards and loans to fund the appearance. Nearly a third admitted buying things they can't afford just to impress people. And a full third confessed to lying about their finances to keep the image up. Read that back slowly. High earners borrowing money and lying about it to impress other high earners who are borrowing and lying right back at them. It's a talent show where every judge is also on stage. So why does nobody feel rich, including the people who statistically are? Researchers gave the feeling a name, money dysmorphia, a distorted picture of your own finances, built from nonstop comparison against everyone else's highlight reel. Intuit Credit Karma measured it. 43% of Gen Z and 41% of millennials say they experience it. And of everyone who does, 95% say it actively damages their money, holding them back from saving, nudging them to overspend, walking them into debt. But here's the finding I can't stop thinking about. 37% of the people who felt hopelessly behind had more than $10,000 in savings, roughly double what the typical American household has. They weren't behind. They felt behind. Because you've seen 1,000 people's best 5 seconds today and 0 people's bank statements. Nobody posts the quiet night in. Nobody posts, stayed home, cooked rice, moved 200 into savings. You're comparing your entire unedited life against a feed, and then spending real money to close a gap that never existed. And the money is very real. Walk through any parking lot in America right now. Nearly 1 in 5 new car loans costs over $1,000 a month. $1,000 monthly. And here's the detail that gives the whole game away. About 3/4 of those $1,000 loans aren't for Ferraris. They're for regular cars and pickup trucks. The status contest isn't happening at a country club. It's happening in your neighbor's driveway between a Ford F-150, a slightly newer Ford F-150, and a man lying awake at 2 a.m. doing math. And the funniest part? Your neighbor bought that truck partly for you. You never even noticed it. You were too busy buying things for him. Meanwhile, actual rich people keep failing to dress the part. Warren Buffett, one of the richest human beings alive, still lives in the same Omaha house he bought in 1958 for $31,500 and says he can't imagine a better one. Which points at the uncomfortable rule underneath all of this. Real wealth is usually invisible. It's the paid-off car, the boring account, the nothing-to-see-here house. And visible wealth, the kind engineered to be noticed, is very often just debt wearing a costume. So let's price the costume. Every $100 a month spent on looking rich, invested instead at a modest 7%, becomes roughly $122,000 over 30 years. Every $100. So that $300 monthly gap between the car that impresses the neighbors and the car that just works, that was never a $300 decision. That was a $360,000 decision. You just never see the bill because it arrives 30 years later, disguised as options you no longer have. The good news, beating this costs nothing, which is the nicest thing I'll say all video. 3 moves. 1. Before you buy, ask the rudest question in personal finance. Is this for me or for an audience? Be honest. And remember what 5 hours at a reunion taught me. The audience isn't watching. They're busy starring in their own show. 2. Mute the comparison. Unfollow whatever reliably makes you feel behind. No budget on earth survives a feed engineered to make you feel poor. 3. Decide what enough looks like before the money arrives. The car that's enough. The place that's enough. Write it down. Because if you don't define enough, the feed will define it for you. And the feed's answer is always slightly more than you have. Looking rich and being rich aren't just different. They're competing for the same dollars. Every dollar that goes into the appearance is a dollar that can never compound into the reality. The image isn't just failing to make you rich. The image is what's keeping you broke. I still have the watch, by the way. I wear it around the house now. Turns out it keeps excellent time when nobody's looking. It still doesn't count steps.